It's run off what you call the proof of work algorithm. And basically what that means is that in order for anything to be validated on the blockchain, the whole network has to know that you put in the computational power for this transaction to be validated. You can't skip out on this. You can't just say, hey, create a transaction out of nowhere. Well, we have to know that your computer, your processing power, you put in the money, the energy, and the time to come up with this, it gets thrown in on the blockchain. Crypto, exactly. So we can go into it, but let me stress to you that Bitcoin is not anonymous. They're able to track Bitcoins. It's an open public ledger. No, just because they're able to see it doesn't mean they have access to it. So don't get that twisted. Just because anyone's able to see your wallet, they don't know it's you unless you tell them. But it is not as secure as we really need it to be. So there's different layers that can be thrown on Bitcoin to make it safer, and that's what we're in the process of working on, such as Lightning Network, such as Mimblewimble, different protocols that can be thrown onto Bitcoin to keep it more secure and more private. Go into blockchain tech, decentralized. Yeah, exactly. The biggest transfer of wealth in human history. Just get prepared for it, because what's going to happen is you're going to need a catalyst. A catalyst is going to happen. And what I mean by that, some sort of news event, some sort of catastrophe, financial, is what's going to spark what's going to spark the next bull run. You know what I'm saying? If all the banks were to shut down, if some government rule or something, you're going to see the markets react, because that's what they do. They react. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to show you in the course how to protect. Go ahead.
Yeah, you do your name. Hold on. I know I'm getting tons of them.
Yeah.
They do this every time I'm live. Hold on, family.
Yeah, notice how he just comes and just bum rushes and takes the camera. No respect whatsoever.
Hey, what's up, gang? You out here early?
Oh, yeah.
Or are we out here late?
No, I seen you. I was just smoking in the car.
Ooh.
Crossovers.
Oh, yeah, I'm going in.
Oh, where? It's like that. Hold on. Boom. There we go.
Gotcha.
Yeah, let's get it.
Yeah.
Build. So we hit. You know, the grind. But I just want to let y'all know, this is one of my number one mentees right here. All my mentees, my security mentee over here, you know, he can break down a whole bunch of survival tactics and everything, but he's going to have his day. But this is my brother right here. The whole thing is about making teachers of this information and being able to say that it ain't just me making the money. It's not just me with the knowledge. So my brother here, I'm going to include him in the course. All right? I'm going to.
Isn't it interesting? See, now he goes into the power of authority. I'm going to include him. See, this is part of his mentee scam. And there's quite a few people who signed up for this mentee scam, and they got scammed, and they did videos on YouTube. In fact, there was this young lady, she's a pretty young lady, and she was talking about how he got her for, I don't know how much money on this mentee thing. Anyone of y'all seen that? He's done this to, I don't know, because see, the thing is that not everyone's going to speak out about it, but it has to be thousands of people that he's scammed with this mentee thing. But the idea of someone being your mentee, they're in a subservient position, and you're in the position of power, and it plays itself out in this scene in and of itself. Just how in the beginning he starts off, then he gives him the camera, like, okay, go ahead and do your thing. And then a certain point he comes in, he just takes the camera, and then it's all about him now. Then he's telling him, well, I'm going to include him. And see, notice too, when he starts, he has to get, he has to look the part. He has on the hoodie, he has on the hat, he's a sagging jeans. Then he has to stand right in front of his rented car. Okay, this is again to influence people's perceptions about him as someone who is successful. He's not.
Previous course, we're going to include that in this new course. So this means that whether you buy the course or not, if you took the previous one, you'll get access to the free classes, because I have free classes. But this course it's going to be $120. You go to brotherpolite45@gmail.com. We're going to teach on insurance, crypto, credit, and a whole nother level. At a whole nother level, we're going to show you how to access 50 to 20 grand in credit upwards with all.
Yeah, I know, and this is why, because someone said it looked like CryptoRoots is trying to get gain access to Polite's audience. No, that's not it. And you'll see what's happening here once we get to the video where CryptoRoots breaks down his experience with Polight. It's a lot deeper than that. And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but what Polight is doing is he's trying to find another way to get money out of his audience, meaning Polite's audience. He doesn't know anything about crypto. He's such a scammer. He doesn't know. But what he wants to do is act as if he knows. He's already positioned himself in a position. He's placed himself in a position of power. Look at the body language. He's placed himself in the position of power. Now he's speaking on crypto that he doesn't know anything about, but he has a mentee who knows about it. He brings the mentee on board to be able to get the information from the mentee and present it as if he knows it, and he's the authority figure. And then meanwhile, he's scamming his mentee out of over $100,000. And then he's also going to be scamming his audience because they feel like, oh, wow, now Polite's talking about crypto.
Far above and beyond our race. The disconnect is the information. The disconnect is the information. Absolutely. You feel what I'm saying? So you got people out here that when it comes time for them to make bread, they don't do it like we do. You know what we do? We save for a very long time to get up to $3,000. We save for a very long time to get up to $10,000. That's what we have a tendency to do. Okay? But the reality is there's another group of people who understand how to write off their spending so they make money back from that which they spend. This is why I teach people about setting up the trust. Okay, it's not connecting the trust with your utilities, your rent, or your mortgage. Okay, I always ask people: do you live where you rent? Do you live where you work, or do you work where you live?
He's been evicted over and over again. He rents cars. He be living in some of the people that he's around, the celebrities. I'm not even renting. He be using their houses. He be living there. He doesn't have a job. That's why he scams. Just like Umar Johnson. Doesn't have a home, doesn't have his own home, doesn't have a job. So he's always scamming. Polight is more complex because he also has, all these women that he uses in their financial ventures. A lot of people think that these women are his wives. These are not his wives. No, not in a traditional sense. You guys know what these women do? There's a reason why they dress like that. They didn't even dress like that back in the day when they were early on. Because I can show you videos. I remember this one video. He had them stand up. They weren't dressed, and some of them, some of them back then, they were dressed in African attire too. So what happened exactly? Yeah, you're right. I don't play.
Dude, it's your boy CRYPTOROOTS, and I really feel like I need to express myself because I'm having some very unhealthy thoughts in my head, and I want to tell you the absolute truth about my experience with Brother Polight as his mentee. Like, I'm not lying. There's no reason to lie. I'm not trying to get anything that I don't deserve back. I just want the money I invested back. So I'm starting from the beginning. This may seem like a long story. It's a lot going on. And so I was in Hawaii doing my thing, studying crypto, studying programming. And like I said in my other videos, I knew I had to make sacrifices. So I slept on the beach in a hammock and was just grinding until my programming skills were good enough. And, you know what I'm saying? And it just so happened that my father died. We weren't that close, but I was on my own. 16, 17. I've been on my own, I haven't lived with him, and we weren't that close. But he ended up having a heart attack. He ended up dying. And then I found out that I was going to get some life insurance money. And it just so happened I needed it because I only had like 45 cents in my bank account. I just was grinding, just saving my crypto. I didn't want to sell my crypto. I knew that one day it would go up. And I was just freelancing, hustling, farming, trying to get any paper I could to survive. I ended up getting that money, and I thought I had two major decisions I could have made. And the first one was just to buy Bitcoin and then travel Asia, South Korea, Asia. And other was to I've been following, like he was the main reason, that and Bitcoin. And I told him this, you woke me up into consciousness. And I started following his teachings. I started doing the tax liens. I bought a few of his books. A few orders didn't come through. I didn't trip on it.
All right. Now, just already, see, there's one thing that he brought up. He brought up the tax lien, because a lot of what Polite, he at a certain point he started getting into like stuff dealing with tax liens and how you can make all this money, and he's had different types of scams over the years. I remember before, early on, it was paperwork stuff dealing with sovereignty, like what the Moors talk about. He just transitions, and each time he transitioned, it brings in a new demographic of people. Well, I shouldn't say it that way, but a new quadrant of the Black population. He draws it in. You see, does that make sense? In other words, people who are into the Black Power talk when he's wearing the dashikis, and they're drawn in. I'm talking about Black people. At a certain point, he starts talking about sovereignty. So anyone who's into the more science, they're kind of drawn in. You see. Later, he started to talk more about living large and having expensive things, but then he draws in another particular quadrant of the demographic, and it's more than just a quadrant. But you get the point. All right. So what I'm saying here is that right off of the bat, you can tell there's similarities already that he's talking. He also brought up how he purchased some books. He didn't have the books, never received the books. Who's that sound like? That's Umar Johnson.